Hello Figgy Fiends and Collectors, this is me, Daniel East 1000, back again with a very special Star Wars The Black Series figures review. Today we're going to be having a look at a exclusive that Hasbro released just last year, and it's one that I've really tried to stave off buying the standard releases for. To actually have this in my hands, I'm feeling super lucky to actually have it, first and foremost, and super relieved that I've finally got the standard figures to hand now. So, today we're going to be having a look at the Heroes of Endor 4-figure set. First and foremost, as per usual, we'll have a quick look at the packaging, or we'll try and make it as quick as possible, just because this is a chunky piece of packaging with many layers and some absolutely gorgeous artwork, as we'll come to see. Although on first glance, seeing this outer packaging, you're going to be a bit like, what are you talking about here, Mr. 1000? Well, we'll start off with the front. Star Wars Black Series there, bunch of Lego garb at the bottom, which is relatively dull, but when you turn it this way around, if you just catch it quite nicely in the light, because obviously it's black on black, so you won't maybe notice it on first glance, but as you can see here, we've got a very nice bit of stylized artwork of the Death Star 2 and the Forest Moon of Endor, which this set is predominantly based around. You've got the Death Star there again, continuing around there, the Endor Forest, Star Wars The Black Series, Star Wars Return of the Jedi, and Heroes of Endor. Just look on this side. Nothing too exciting going on there. And then on the bottom, more legal garb, and at the top you get a bit of a sneak peek at one of the figures you get. So if we just slip this outer packaging off, it's a very nice sleeve, and have a look at the main packaging, you've got a very nice window display of all the figures that you get. Now, first and foremost, we'll talk about Paploo.
I'm afraid our furry companion has gone and done something rather rash.
Who is sat on the speederbike that he's cheekily robbed, of which we do see in the film.
Look, over there! Stop him!
Paploo is... Was he first to be released in terms of the Ewoks, or second? I'm a bit mixed up on that. I have a feeling he was first, technically. Either way, we've got Paploo now, and Teebo. This set's called the Heroes of Endor, and I'm really wondering, where's my boy Wicket? Because to have Teebo and Paploo is a bit of a head scratcher. I mean, don't get me wrong, this scene is incredibly iconic, but to me, Wicket is the more iconic Ewok. I really hope Hasbro addresses that, and I hope we get him soon. But nonetheless, we've had the speederbike before, many different colour schemes now. So we've had it in the Shadow Stormtrooper flavour, also the Mandalorian one, which is the actual speederbike in white. So yeah, we've got it in the standard issue brown again, which is nice. But of course, this time you've got Paploo sat on that, and I believe you can see one of his accessories hiding in there, which is pretty cool. Of course, the artwork that they've put in as the backing packaging for him, they've framed him as if zipping through that forest, super quick like we see in the film. So you've got a lot of motion blur in that artwork there, which I really love, and it's almost a shame that I've got to take it out of the pack. I don't have to, but because I want this figure so bad, yeah, it's almost a shame I have to take him out of that, because that is really cool. And of course, if you look at the top, you can have a nice look at him in there in the packaging with that window. If we move around to this side, we've got Han and Leia outside the Imperial bunker, the iconic "I love you, I know" switcheroo. Leia, I believe, does come with a helmet, and Han does come with his poncho. They're hidden away in here in this little baggie. Both of these figures are not exclusive to this set. You can buy them individually, so if you missed the boat in getting this, you've got another chance to re-get them. Currently, they're relatively easy to find. Likewise, if we look on this side to Luke, who's just on his own, deflecting some speederbike blaster fire, which is pretty cool. Very 3D, very cinematic. I love the sort of movie still feel these frames actually have, which is really cool. Like I said with Han and Leia, Luke is in the same boat. You can get him on his own. He was released single carded. Really nice that you get all these figures, and the nice little incentive to buy this set is really just the Paploo, who is an exclusive, and I would say he's more for the uber Star Wars geek. So yeah, casual collectors might be a bit more like, I can skip him, but yeah, for me it was like, oh, I love Ewoks, and yeah, Paploo in there was one that I definitely wanted to get. So if I just give you one last little look of them inside their plastic prisons, and we'll get to opening them momentarily. The lovely thing is as well, if you didn't want to open them, I'm not going to be able to show you this particularly well just because it doesn't stretch that far out, but you can swing the packaging open like so. So if you did have a shelf big enough, you could have this sitting on there, and you can actually, you know, have the figures sat in the boxes like so, rather than opening it up if you didn't want to. So you can display it so you can see them all together, which I think is a really, really cool feature. If you're probably wondering, oh well, there's no artwork on the back of these, there is. You've got some lovely, lovely Endor themed packaging, so I don't know how long I'm going to be able to show you this, just because it's so awkward, but it continues on through that. I'll try and show you through some other shots if I can. That's just really, really nice. You've got the Death Star on that one, looming over the Endor forest, and that really nice Return of the Jedi green. That's super, super awesome. If I shut this, we look at the back, you've got Star Wars The Black Series there naturally, and then a bio, which I will include in the description, but if you pause it, you can probably have a read of that yourself. So that is this honky chonky box over and done with. Now all that remains is to cut into this and get these figures out. So while I'm enjoying doing that, I'll see you in a moment. So with the contents of this box now removed, let's dive right into it. Here they all are. That was a group shot thumbnail. Just to reiterate, first and foremost, Paploo, little guy on this speederbike here, is exclusive to this set. It's the only way you can get this guy currently is to buy this San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. The speederbike itself that is sort of sat on, this was available in the past with the Biker Scout. It's seen a couple of recolours since then, but it has been long overdue to be seen in this original brown colour scheme. So I'm really thrilled to have this version in my collection finally. Luke, Han and Leia, these three, all available individually, so if you miss out on this set, don't worry too much because you can buy these guys individually. I think most sites that have these listed still have them in stock, so you don't need to rush out and pick these guys up too soon. To be perfectly honest with you as well, the single carded release of these guys aren't going to be the last time we see these, because the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi is just around the corner, and I can see Hasbro re-releasing these guys on vintage card at some point to commemorate that anniversary effectively, like they did with Empire Strikes Back and like they did with A New Hope. Even though Hasbro haven't officially said they're doing that, it's sort of obvious. So we'll take a look at these guys first, starting off with Leia, of which I have to admit was probably my least anticipated figure. I wasn't really that jazzed about it. I mean, to be honest, like with all three of these characters, we've seen them in numerous different costumes. You don't get, it's sort of just expected. Do you know what I mean? You know that they're coming. It's like, oh yeah, cool, they're out, sweet, pick them up, done job sort of thing. At least to me. Like I've said in my other videos, I'm more about my unique, weird and wonderful alien creatures. It's probably different for you guys, but that's just me as a collector. I love getting these characters, but I'm always a bit more excited about the unusual and quirky. Nonetheless though, I do really like the Endor costumes. I think they're probably my favourite look for all these characters when they're on Endor. just because it's got more of a rebel militant vibe. Of course, you've got Leia in her battle poncho there. I love that Hasbro went for a soft goods material rather than plastic, just because you can get more playability and posability out of these guys because of that. It's not hindered, especially with the accessories that you get in this set. Certainly helps with that. I mean, naturally, quickly mention about the Speederbike, you're going to want Leia and Luke riding this thing. I mean, maybe you might opt not to do that, but you're going to want to do that at some point, surely. So yeah, pleased they went with soft goods. The belt can be removed so you can see underneath the poncho there, which is really, really nice. Hidden away underneath this poncho is her blaster in the holster, and she does hold that relatively well. I must admit, with my version of this figure, because they put an elastic band around the hand that was holding the blaster in the packaging, it sort of warped the trigger finger. How well you can see that on the blaster there. Yeah, it just warped it ever so slightly, which is a bit unfortunate. And the trigger finger, well, yeah, that's really, really warped. Doesn't look particularly good, to be honest with you. At certain angles, but we'll make do with that. There she is with her blaster. She also comes with a helmet, which was removed in the packaging and was in the plastic baggie with Han's battle poncho. So the strap is meant to attach into a little, peg and socket in there, but it's very, very small and difficult to do that just with my chunky fingers. Can't really get that to plug in, and so it can just kind of sit, just wedged in between that and the head, and that works out just fine. So yeah, I'll take that helmet off again, just have a look at that head sculpt, of which is a tremendous likeness to Carrie Fisher. Really, really impressive, that. Just absolutely stunning. Again, back to the Wicket, the Ewok thing. Having this figure is screaming for that character to have a figure made, just because of both the characters' interactions. It's a hat. Don't be scared, little fella. Really wish Wicket was in this set. He's just the OG. He's the one that, Leia meets first, and here's hoping Hasbro resolves that soon. But yeah, just having Leia, it's just instantly reminded me of that. Nonetheless, they're just a lovely, lovely figure. I'll give you a bit of a look at that battle poncho. If I just flip it down like that, of the base body, so they've actually put sculpting on there. So if you did choose to buy, if you're finicky like that, this set and the standard version, you can have one with the battle poncho on and one with it off. It's entirely up to you if you'd want to do that. I'm sure there's someone out there who would. So there we go. That's Leia. In terms of articulation, she's got a ball jointed head on a ball hinge, ball joint in the neck, so you can make it look even further down, even further up, ball jointed shoulders, ball jointed elbows, ball jointed wrists, ball jointed torso, ball jointed hips, swivel at the tops of the thighs, ball hinged knees, and ball hinged ankles with rocker joints. So you can get this figure into all the poses that you could want with her. Next up, let's take a look at Han Solo in his trench coat, which is removed in the packaging. You can put that on like I have. But yeah, you've got Han in his trench coat. It's a very nice camo look. Again, love that they use soft goods and it just flows really nice on him. Just, any pose you put this figure in, it just looks really cool. Yeah, in terms of the other accessory he comes with, he's got this blaster, and that can sit into his holstering just there, like so. Let's see if you can see that. There's not really too much to say about Han. He's kind of got that typical sort of A New Hope look to him. With the black and sort of tan shirt, and obviously the sweet, sweet trench coat, which I really like. I really liked Han's look in Return of the Jedi, just because it's like a blending of the first costume he wore in A New Hope, and then it's mixed with his sort of like newly found sort of general status that he earned himself. Just really, really lovely. And again, that head sculpt, that face tech technology, just doing wonders. In some angles it doesn't quite look like Harrison Ford, I think, but in others it works a bit better. But yeah, just really, really nice. And like I said, any pose you put this guy in, it just looks really quite aesthetic. Not too much to say about him. I mean, it's another Han at the end of the day. I know the costume's got some slight variations and whatnot. But yeah, I just love that trench coat. I think that just really adds so much to the figure, that's for sure. I won't go into articulation with this guy just yet because it is pretty much the same as Luke's, and that brings me into a nice transition to talk about Luke. So here he is. You've got him again with his poncho. It's a slightly different shade to Leia's. It's a bit darker rather than the light green. But it's got that camo pattern on. Of course, in terms of accessories, he's got his lightsaber and you know, the hilt, which you can remove from the beam. So yeah, it can do that. There's nowhere to really store the lightsaber on the belt of the figure, unfortunately, even though it does have the little, or peg loop rather, on the end of that. So that's a bit unfortunate. It would have been nice if they included that, but it's not too much of a biggie. Of course, he's got his gloved hand. His helmet is removable like Leia's, so if we just pop that off. Oh, I didn't notice that on mine. Bit of a paint goof on my Luke. I don't get too antsy about that. I know there's some people out there that would, but me it's just like, yeah, whatever. But you can kind of see on his eyebrow, he's got a bit of brown. It'll probably rub off, whatever. It happens. It's a mass-produced product. It's just, you know, it's fine. And the head sculpt with that little paint goof. Yeah, it's a damn good likeness to Mark Hamill, that's for sure. And to be honest, I won't be able to notice it. That's a little mistake there. When you put the helmet on, it's not that noticeable. Naturally, you can take the poncho off. It does have a little clip on the belt, so you can remove that. You can take it off, so you can have him in more of his Jedi Knight look, although I think we've had a couple of Lukes in his Jedi Knight look, so I don't know why you'd do that unless you don't have those figures. So the options there, I suppose. Again, it's another one of those, these three, to me at least, feel like a bit of an, it is what it is. You know, they are really nice figures. There's just not a hell of a lot to talk about them in terms of the details and stuff. But in terms of the Luke and Han and their articulation, they have ball jointed heads on a hinge so they can look up and down, ball jointed shoulders, ball jointed elbows, ball jointed wrists, ball jointed torso, ball jointed hips, swivel at the top of the thigh, double hinged knees, ball jointed ankles with rocker joints, so you can get them in some really, really good poses. But yeah, all three of these figures are great. They're just nothing to overly run home about, and I'm sort of glad that I didn't buy them all individually, because I feel like individually it'd just be like, meh, got them, but in this set it's kind of like presented quite nicely, quite memorably. It's like, yeah, that's nice. It's nice that they included the three best friends that anyone could have in a set altogether. And to put the cherry on that inclusion of all those three standard release figures, you get Paploo and the Speederbike, which is the last thing we need to look at here. So, like I said, the Speederbike has been released in numerous different colour options. It's been a while since we've seen it in the brown colour scheme that we have here. Originally it was packed in with the Scout Trooper, and I believe it had a different base as well, just because, well, I've got look at that, I've got the Shadow Squadron. This set is, side note, rare as Rocking Horse poop. Yeah, they had this stupid display stand which you can sort of switch over to give it various heights and various stability. Rubbish display stand, to be perfectly honest with you. But it's literally, this is just a repaint of this. I never did get the original version that came with the Scout Trooper. To be perfectly honest, the paint apps on this one are a lot better than this. So, the Speederbike is one that I've really wanted, and if we just take Paploo off it, I mean, this was one of the main reasons why I wanted this set, was for the Speederbike. I stupidly passed on it. So now, actually having this, and Hasbro did release some time ago now the Biker Scout on his own for the Legends line, or Saga Legends line. I did pick that one up. So now I do have a complete speederbike and scout trooper to go with that. If I so wish, I can, you know, have this displayed with that and have that as a sort of complete set. I'm pretty stoked about that. Now alternatively, if I just wanted to have this guy stand on his own, I can do that. I can have the Ewok riding it. I can even have the option of having Luke and Leia riding it. The options are endless, and it's going to be a trouble working out what I'm going to do or what I'm going to display on it, just because I've got quite a few options. So yeah, just I love the paint apps on this thing. It's like I said, there's a lot more going on with this than there was with the Shadow Squadron one. You've got some weathering, you've got some chipping, you've got sort of like scorch marks going on there from where it's been zipping through the forest. Just looks a little bit more battered and scuffed up, a bit of dry brushing or sort of like silver paint on that engine. You've got the blaster under there as well. And then on the back you've got these fins which do articulate to reveal the engine. So that's really cool. And of course you've got the foot pedals for your figures, and they've actually got pegs so you can peg it in there and keep them nice and secure when riding the bike. The handles, the little control panel. Just really love the Speederbike vehicle. Like I said, it does come with this stand so you can sort of pose it in interesting ways. Different angles, different heights. So with the Speederbike out of the way, let's get to the exclusive of this set, and arguably one of the main reasons why I spent £117 just to get this guy. Paploo, who is, like I said, exclusive to this set. It's the only way you can get him currently. Yeah, this is the second Ewok to be released. I do actually have T-Bow to hand, and this is basically the exact same figure in terms of the base body. I think head sculpt might be slightly different, I could be wrong. Obviously the colouring and paint and the accessories that this figure actually comes with. And yeah, it's absolutely crazy. I mean, obviously I did want the other figures, but this was a slightly additional incentive to get this exclusive effectively. So yeah, that's Paploo. You got some lovely textures on him. I love these Black Series Ewok figures. I'm looking forward to more of them being released, because Hasbro definitely needs to utilise this sculpt as much as possible. But he comes with this weird little Ewok weapon. You got his headgear, which I think you could probably remove, but I'm not going to do it. In terms of articulation with this guy, he's got a ball-jointed head, ball-jointed shoulders, ball-jointed elbows, ball-jointed wrists, ball-jointed torso, ball-jointed hips, ball-jointed knees, and ball-jointed ankles with rocker joints. So it's really impressive how much articulation they've put into a figure of this size. You know, you can get this guy into some really dynamic poses. I mean, when I got the T-Bow original base figure, I was really surprised how much you can actually do with it. My only little gripe with this Ewok figure is it would have been nice if it came with a little knife rather than just having it sculpted in this belt. You can't remove that. I thought you'd be able to, but you can't. It's just sculpted in there. Another little additional accessory, but it's not a biggie. I mean, this guy is just really going to be a bit of a scene filler, to be honest. Worth it. This is the part of the video where I summarise things. So I spent £117 on this set, of which does seem quite steep when you look at what you've got. However, if you break it down, you're looking at £20 each on these individual figures. So that's 60 quid. For a vehicle and a figure, that'll be about £50. So I mean, realistically, you'll be looking at about 110. And to take into account the rather lovely packaging that they come in, you are sort of just paying for the exclusivity effectively, predominantly because of this thing. It is nuts, it is mental, but that's the point of exclusives. They are for crazy die-hard Star Wars fans like me, what's nice is if you're really not bothered about this, you can get these figures at least in standard, so you're not really missing out too much. Overall, I'm really pleased with this set. I don't think it was too bad value for money, and for me it was a really great unboxing party, and it's most likely because I've been trying to stave myself off from getting these guys just so I would in blind hopes get a chance at getting this, and it paid off. So I'm really super chuffed with this. It might not be for everyone this pack exclusive thing, but it certainly scratched my itch, and I'm really pleased I got to share it with you guys. So let me know what you guys think of this set in the comments below. Tell me honestly, is it a complete waste of time or nah? Let me know. And this is me, Daniel East 1000. As always, sign out and thank you very much for watching.